All right. Everybody's got their, yes. All right, so we'll start with the minutes, as always.
I was not at the September 7th meeting, so, no, someone else can,
Yeah, unfortunately, though, we can't actually approve it without 3 votes, so we can just push it off to the next meeting. That's
Okay.
not a big deal.
okay.
We'll just do that for both of them.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that was quick. You're up.
Hell yeah.
Actually, Jimmy, maybe if you could move to the table so that they can come up here. Thank you. I'm kicking you out, Jimmy.
Shoot, JC gets me.
Out of the camera.
Just the back of my head.
It's the back of our head.
Yeah, it's
Not my
it's
best.
not an ideal setup, but.
Exciting. Things are happening. Right.
Yes, you have the money for it.
That's what I was.
Now, I didn't print out, obviously, all of the
No
different
worries.
company information that you sent.
I really just wanted to sort of, that's really like a Mercedes version of a ping pong table or table tennis table. We're probably gonna end up with is what you have in the packet, the Kepler version. It's, you'll have to go to the website to actually look at it, but it's a beautiful table. It's sleek, it's aluminum, it's perfect for what we need. And we have the money for it, for them.
The email that I forwarded to you had those links in.
Correct. So essentially, we wanted to first announce that we made an abundance of money on Oktoberfest.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt, just for the recording, if
Yes.
you could say your names.
Yes, my name is
Mike.
Tony Weig. I am president and CEO of We Heart Berlin Incorporated.
I'm Brian Robertson, I'm a board member of We Heart Berlin.
So we'd like to announce that thank you to the town of Berlin and Ivy for blessing us with the liquor license for Oktoberfest. We raised nearly $20,000 in funds. We will be donating $1,000 of that back to the town for the arts and entertainment world to help pay for the expenses that they had. So I talked to Ivy about that today, and we're going to officially announce it today at this meeting. After paying our vendors and everything, we have the money to purchase our first 2 tables and sort of make our dream come true of this ping pong park. And we're met with an architect is working on actual renderings of the ping pong park. But in the light of a pandemic and global supplies being very wonky, I wanted to go ahead and purchase 2 tables so that we have them in stock, keep them somewhere in Public Works until we're ready to put this whole thing together. And before I went and did that, I wanted to talk to you guys about that and make sure everybody was cool. With that, with the forward thought of a park that's going to end up sort of like this, but final renderings will sort of tell us what that's going to be. So that's why we're here today. That's one of the reasons why we're here today.
Well, first, the Parks Commission, I believe, have got my projects mixed up at this point. Has the Parks Commission actually made a motion and given tacit approval for the ping pong tables? Okay, I wasn't sure if we had gotten quite that far, and I would go back in my minutes and check it, but.
It went Henry Park Lights, Ping Pong Park, and then Skate Park, and that
Okay.
made it up to
Right.
the mayor and council.
And that's what we did with our wish list.
Okay.
That
Correct.
was the wish list that we did, or back when we
Well,
were.
I will say this, that having done the wish list is not quite the same as getting final approval. So it
Mm.
does still
Right.
need to go before the mayor and council
Right.
for the
Yes.
actual specs and that kind of thing.
Right.
So,
Yes.
okay, that brings us up to date then.
Correct.
So, Jimmy, I would think that you would have, sorry, I'm dealing with a stiff neck, of course.
It's okay.
Everything's to the right. Questions about, I don't know, installation, mounting, that sort of thing?
Yeah, I guess the questions would be, how, are they permanently into the ground?
So
Or is it sit on
essentially,
top?
we're going to have lag bolts that come out of the concrete
Okay.
in specific locations for these tables, and then they'll attach at the legs. and bolts. We'll be able to take them off and put them back on if we have to do anything to the concrete.
Yeah, I believe there'd be, a concrete pad that extended past the table, so,
Okay.
you don't have
So
to
they
stand
just
on
sit on the
ground.
pad, or are they actually?
They would sit on the pad and there would be bolts coming
Oh,
out of the
okay,
pad.
but they are
and
mounted to the
They're
pad.
bolted to the
Okay.
ground.
Absolutely, yes.
And then I guess one of the other questions, I see the setback from the road, how far do you think you'll be from the sidewalk to the street in that, from this picture diagram?
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
the scale. So,
What do you
talking
think?
with the architect, I believe there's going to be at least a 5-foot setback from the sidewalk to where in my design, I hope we're going to have a retaining wall that's made of brick, like
Yeah, I
red
think
brick.
that would be ideal, to just keep balls from,
Correct,
Yeah.
and give people a place to sit. It was sort of Brian's idea to keep in line with Berlin's charm and red brick that we love to use here. Have 2 red brick sections that go across the front of each of the tables, in between the street and the tables. For seating as well as sort of a separation of the areas.
So,
And I think
So that would be instead of this
Fence.
white vinyl fence?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
I am.
Yes.
Yeah.
No chance. We're not putting that
Yeah, I did
well,
say,
if nothing else, that could have been a temporary measure pending,
Correct.
you know,
right.
additional funds being.
This is with the
No, no, I
This is
just want to
actually
be
what the
sure
table
that
looks like.
it's,
Right.
where what I'm
Yes,
seeing
yes.
compared to.
Jimmy, I don't know if you've seen this, but this is what that actual table
Okay.
looks like. It's very simple in design.
Yeah, if you don't
There's actually
have
no
that,
net.
I'll resend
It's
it.
actually an aluminum net, so you don't have to worry about
Right.
replacing the nets or
Ah,
anything like
okay.
that,
Okay.
which
Okay.
makes it sort of better.
Oh, that's just a metal divider, not,
Yes.
okay.
Correct. So no jump shots.
Kind of an odd question,
Yes.
but with an aluminum table,
Mhm.
does it become terribly noisy?
No, ping
Okay.
pong balls are very,
I mean,
they're not
yeah,
heavy enough to sort of make a noise.
that's what I would think.
There's a little bit
It's
of,
just the
it's a beautiful
slamming of
sound.
the.
Yeah, yeah,
It's sort of a relaxing sound, just like a.
yeah. Tonk, tonk.
Correct, it's just a little
depends on whether
sound.
you're winning or losing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
And the
I
paddle's
I just,
great,
you know, I
very
didn't know
easy.
if,
I think this would be a good
Yeah, put it on
opportunity
the table.
for people to exercise their language control during
Sure.
this game.
Or like you would in any bar.
Meditating, right, meditating
Correct.
ping pong play.
Well, the fact that they're bolted is good because if the table itself needs repair
Correct.
Right,
or replacement,
Mhm.
right.
Yeah,
and
rather
it makes
than-
it not permanent.
Correct.
Well,
Like,
Take it
all
out,
this.
put it back.
Yeah.
Now, I also see this as a concrete pad,
Mhm.
and I'm sure that they have, I just want to be sure that because it's a park, we have all of the necessary graduating from, so it's not trip hazards or anything. That is, of course, paramount, any safety issues like that. I also worry about the runoff. How are you dealing with the runoff that comes from this? Are you going to back it up to, are you going to make sure it goes away from the street?
So,
There is a ditch to the
Yeah.
one end of,
Right,
Or
I just
park
want to
there.
be sure that you're aware that that runoff,
Yeah.
it should not go towards the sidewalk in any
Oh,
way.
yeah.
It should go, there will be a grade on it, I'm sure.
it
So-
should definitely not go toward the power plant either. They spend a lot of money actually to deal with stormwater mitigation at the power
Sure.
plant.
Well, this is something, an issue that needs to be addressed, so,
Yes,
you
so
know,
these are, these
yeah.
would be concrete pads of about 360 square feet. So
Right.
you're talking about not much concrete space.
Not much,
Right.
but there still will be, I would not want it to go, I would not want rainwater to melt on that and then trickle out to the street. I'm not sure how the
So that it'll be-
pitch of the bricks will be,
There's a
all
lot
of those
space.
things.
There's a lot of space.
Yeah, if you look at the aerial photo,
Yeah,
I'm
I just-
actually surprised at how little space it takes. There's a lot.
I just am concerned about the sidewalk.
Sure.
As far as
Sure.
runoff goes.
We'll
So
be
that I
within
just
5
want you
feet
to
as
be.
well as having a brick divider in between that.
A lot of rain can still
Sure.
wash off.
Absolutely.
That's my, I'm very, it should stay
Absolutely.
on the property. That's my.
Of course.
that's all I'm
Well, I would
saying.
believe all stormwater considerations have to be thought about anyway in the construction.
Absolutely.
So-
That's,
I-
I'm just reminding you that that is
are
something.
these,
For sure.
are these measurements correct on the pad, Tony?
No, I'm
Were
going
there- Were
wider.
there 6.5
I'm gonna go
from
wider.
the end of the table to, okay, so you're gonna have about 13 feet plus 9 feet, that's 21 feet per pad.
We're gonna go, the
Oh, I see.
wider out here. I got the exact, I sent you guys an email with PDFs, and those have the exact measurements, but I'll show,
I forwarded
Yeah, I don't
it
know,
to you, so
I
I'm sure
don't
you've
recall
got
how much
them.
it was on
Yeah.
the-
I'll look it up.
I believe
I'll look
stormwater
at it.
mitigation doesn't actually kick in until it's what, is it 5,000 square
5,000.
feet?
That's
5,000 square feet.
I just-
Yeah.
Not to say that it wouldn't be, obviously,
It would
something
not be
that,
an obstacle to you
Thought,
doing
yeah.
it. It's
Well,
just a
because we're-
thought that I would want to be sure that.
Of course.
But
Right.
because
Safety
we're
for
doing it
sidewalks.
in that area, do you have to include that whole area square footage?
Good question.
no, it's
From the
ground,
driveway.
it's ground disturbance.
Just ground
I believe
disturbance?
so, yes. It's a
That's fine.
footprint of 5,000 or more.
Okay.
Yeah, and we're like 364 square feet. I'm getting you the exact measurements right now.
Yeah, and I see we have them side by side this way and then
Mhm.
side by side the other way. Which way would they be?
Just like you see here.
Okay, this,
So
not
like,
this one.
correct,
Okay.
yes, correct.
Okay, cool.
You're looking at a
That
couple
makes more
different,
sense.
you're looking at a couple different iterations, and the money sort of just was gifted to us rather fast. I checked inventory and they were available, so I wanted to get this sort of process going as,
Well, I think
Quick as we could.
that's wonderful. I'm very glad that you can move forward on this and that it's a shot.
yeah, very.
I was just curious, Tony, because
Mhm,
from the driveway, each one has 24 feet on the outer side,
mhm.
so that's 48 there. From the driveway to the ditch, we
Ditch.
probably have about, yeah, there's a ditch
On
on
this
the,
far
You
end?
can
the east
see it in
end, on
the,
the
you can
east
see
end
it
of it,
in the
there's a
aerial
ditch.
photo.
Yes, yes.
and then on the west end of the
Mhm.
park, there is a driveway.
Correct.
And how much buffer are we gonna have in between with end to end like that?
So I'll have those measurements later down the road when we finalize the pad design. I went and walked it off with a architect the other day, a designer for all of
Mhm.
this. And to be honest, we could, if we flipped them the other way, we could actually probably put 4 tables. There's enough room,
From the fence to the.
there's so much
outer-
room.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so much bigger than you realize when you really
Yeah.
walk.
You sort of get
it.
out there and you're like, oh.
It's so hard to see on this.
Balls will never get to the road. You couldn't even hit it that far to sort of get to the road almost.
Things that will need, the mayor and council will want addressed, parking, because we can't block that driveway for Public Works and the power plant.
Mhm.
Potentially, there might be a tree that is in the way. Looking at the
Mhm.
one that's right next to the driveway, well, if we had to address parking, that would be my thing there.
So one of the things I can tell you for sure is that the mayor's going to, because I've spoken to him about this. We're gonna have a parking section on the left, obviously, and
Off the driveway, I'm
correct,
assuming.
correct, and
Where
I'm
the old
hoping,
recycling bins were?
correct, and I'm hoping and I'm working on getting a donation for a new center seating thing to replace what's currently there.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
rather
it's-
decrepit and.
It's been there for 30
I'm
years.
ashamed that gentleman's name is on it. I mean,
Correct.
Mr. Rubber just-
So we need to really look at that park and see if we can work on the entirety of that space rather than just these tables. Really, I'm here because I want to get these tables before they're not
Right,
available.
right.
We're going to get to the details of the entirety of
Yeah.
the park
Okay.
at some point after the designer, architect gives me that back. I've given him drone pictures, I've given him everything I can give him, just waiting on him.
I'm just gonna get the tables.
And
Yes.
you chose boxwood because,
They're hardy and they
is there a
flower.
is there a native plant that you could put in or a flowering plant?
I
that
would
you
love to
could
put some Joe Pye all over if possible.
Well, Joe Pyeweed is not an attractive plant for, and
What
it's
would-
not
what would you
evergreen
recommend? What would
either.
you recommend? Because I love Joe
Well,
Pye.
I would recommend native azaleas,
Well, then, I
but,
love azaleas too.
but
They
they're
only
not,
flower
these
for a
are
small
not,
amount of time.
yes, they do, but, you know, you have, these are deciduous ones, but you do have azaleas, you also have other flowering. I just didn't know why boxwood, you know, what.
Because they're
was-
simple, they don't require any sort of maintenance, that's the
Well,
only reason.
Is there
Okay.
too much sun there for azaleas, or you think?
They like shade for sure.
I think they do.
Well, there's a lot of other plants
Yeah,
that
something-
other,
something
somebody,
about-
as you
some
move
thought can be
into
given
it,
to it.
some
So
thought
my
can be
original
put
was
into
looking at
it,
this.
yes, I think, and there are
11 and a half
laurels,
by
there's
8.5.
dwarf
Right now, I'm
laurels
looking
and
at
other
the
things
optimal
that would
design
be
is
more.
16 by
Mhm.
23.
I mean, you know,
We would
might
take
as
your
well go
recommendation
green.
somewhere
And
between that
remember,
and that.
any plants that
Yeah,
you
I'm
put
just-
in will
Because I wanna
help
have
contribute
for
to
doubles.
Obesity
Yeah.
USA, if we can ever get the
Right,
mayor.
you don't want
From
nobody
a-
stumbling backwards from the
from a
ditch or
safety
running into
perspective.
I don't know
the
whether
structure in the center.
Correct, the last thing I want is a pool room that's too small for tables.
Exactly.
So I want a big
That's what I
small
was
area
wondering
that's
now, overall.
From a safety perspective, you don't want shrubbery or bushes or anything that's going to create a wall of
I agree.
invisibility.
Right.
So that, you know,
Well,
you can't see
boxwood
what's
does get
happening
very
on the
thick
other
if you
side.
let it, so it'd have to
Yeah.
be maintained.
Well, if it's
Small.
kept short.
Right, but anything can be,
Right.
anything can be
I just,
maintained.
the only laurels I'm really familiar with are tall.
Oh, no, there are lots of
Okay,
so many
okay.
dwarf things, they've done so much to plants, it's amazing.
So
And
to
some of them are very appropriate for urban settings.
to
That's
answer this
a sweet
question, we're at 23 length and 16 and a half width is sort of the
Oh.
optimal ping pong area.
Gives everybody
Gives
plenty
you
of room to
for,
play.
and there's plenty of room out there.
Perfect.
That's why, I sort of was on the safe side, which is 18 and a half by 11 and a half,
Right.
sort of what you have there. I looked at this website for this other table, and they sort of say, add this and add that, and you'll get to a perfect spot. Again, we're just here to sort of talk about the whole project as a whole. I know it's a priority of the town, it's a priority of the Parks Commission. We want to just go ahead and get the tables, and then get to the design sort of later.
Yeah, I
but
think
still
that the
think about it,
details-
still
No,
think
I
about
think
it.
we just want to put in,
Yeah.
the things that we consider when we're dealing with.
Mhm.
Things that will be,
Absolutely.
questions that will be asked and
One more
items to
question
consider.
that they might ask,
Mhm.
Jimmy might ask, on the pad itself,
Mhm.
what type of bedding and reinforcement concrete,
Up to
Rebar.
town code or farther.
and thickness?
Farther than town code requires. My only answer right now, because I don't
Okay.
know the ins
You'll
and
know
outs of that.
You'll know the best on that.
Well, we're gonna do a crush and run layer, we're gonna do all the right stuff with perfect flat, I mean, we're gonna have real
I don't know if
contractors,
they
we're gonna have real
have something-
contractors do all this.
Well, we've had experience where things were not done up to code and we had to go
Right.
back and replace it later.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'm
we're just
sorry you
want to
had
be
to go
sure
through
that that's why we ask these questions.
We learn from our mistakes
No, no, no,
and
no.
ask the questions that should have been asked.
What I'm gonna suggest then is this, and I'm assuming you're looking to move quickly if you're
I
wanting
mean,
to
you
order
know,
them.
as soon as we can,
Do you want to try to get in front of the mayor and council on Monday?
yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
I cannot guarantee it because we're right at the deadline
Yeah,
for
for sure.
the packet, but I can certainly email tonight and ask the
Yes,
question.
that'd be awesome.
Whatever documentation that you've already sent or anything new that you want to
Okay.
send, yeah, make
I'll
sure
update
that.
this with something prettier, as well as
Okay,
new measurements.
Okay, as,
Tonight.
yeah, tonight, first thing in the morning,
Mhm.
that'll be best. As, I don't see a problem with it getting on the agenda, but I can't make that final call, so.
No worries, no worries. It's super exciting, it's just, we weren't expecting this dollars to happen, I was expecting this to be in the springtime that we'd be dealing with this, but
It'll be done by spring.
Ivy, exactly,
Yeah.
my plan is to be done by springtime. Ivy sort of blessed us with this, and it was a perfect day, so Oktoberfest was perfect for the town. I mean,
How
it
about
was,
seating? There will be more seating than just that
I
middle
think,
section?
I think that's the idea for the retaining wall,
Mm.
to add seating,
Okay.
you know, just a gathering space and make that park
Because you
more
could have a
functional
lot
than
of
it
people.
is.
That's a great idea.
That way, you know, because I think there's a lot of small little pocket areas in Berlin that aren't very functional as gathering spaces, but, you know, this can be one to.
Well, this
maybe
is,
just by
this has
adding
always
the
been
table.
a
Yeah, this
desire
is-
for us to have it like a lunch place if nothing else.
Someday,
So seating
yeah.
would be
a tough
very
spot.
desirable.
Use the wall and anchor some seating into the wall.
Yeah.
you can do that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of options and
Yes.
wonderful designs for parks that out there that we haven't even scratched the surface of.
Correct.
It's very exciting.
It is.
It's, I mean, there's nothing like picking out new things.
Correct, correct. It's very exciting to see this coming to fruition. I've been wanting to do this for years now. It's actually happening.
Real quick, with your
Yes.
wall too, I would, just running into other areas where people might be bringing their kids and
Mhm.
small children,
Mhm.
just think of your wall being maybe not too high, but also that the kid can't run out to the street.
I'm
Because we
thinking-
had that with the park, you know, where the little kid ran to the street, but, you know,
This
sometimes
is
they
much
do get.
closer to a street
Sure.
Correct.
than the areas of the other parks are,
Mhm.
so it becomes a little more of a,
Oh, well,
No, it's
that's,
just so like, you know, maybe 2 feet wide, because you want that seating, but just high enough that
Mm.
they have to go around.
It's a real
Yes.
détente,
And
yeah.
if they're, you
Yeah.
know, so just to keep that in mind, because you're probably only, from like with this white line here, you're probably only, this is what, maybe 8, 10 feet to the sidewalk, you know, it's just.
yes. Well, that was my thought with the outside layer of boxwoods. So if you have boxwoods on the other side, a climb over is sort of discouraged
Okay,
because you've got sort of things on the other side and
Right.
dirt and whatever. So that was my only thought.
good.
But yeah, I mean, all those things are gonna be taken into consideration, because hopefully this is busy. I mean, I look at all the windy afternoons that turn into non-windy evenings for about an hour and a half, and it's perfect, and that's exactly when this will get used, like,
Well, I think it'll be used at lunchtime.
Oh,
too,
for sure.
you know,
Daytime,
For
for
just for people to enjoy sitting down and,
correct.
no, I think that there's so many opportunities for
Mhm.
great design, and I'm sure there's standards about how to design close to a busy road with parks.
Well,
I'm sure they have
I
some
don't
numbers
know
about
what the
that.
level of involvement of state high, I mean, William Street
It
is
is
a state highway.
highway.
So I don't know what level of involvement they would have, but yeah.
Just, I imagine that they're somewhere out there. Your
Something.
designer
At
should
least
know
with the
all of
Yeah.
these things.
Whatever the setbacks are
Right.
on
Mhm.
the
Right.
highway.
We gotta figure that part out.
Right.
I have emailed Jeff, and he's working with Mr. Engelhardt to see if there's a survey of that area. I've gotten to the plat information, I've looked online through Merlin, and I've seen what's there, but there's no sort of survey information, and that would sort of help the designer.
Yeah, I'm sure that a survey was done years ago when the town was looking to actually sell the power plant, but those records are, you know,
Who knows where they are?
right, right.
Correct.
So, I'm sure it's out there, but,
Well, I'm glad that if Dave's on it, then it'll get done. You'll find out
Correct.
the
email's
best
sitting,
information.
waiting for him, I think he's on
Maybe
vacation.
Buntan Surveys has it, because they probably would have been likely
Probably
to
would
do
have
it.
did.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would have done that or not. Might do.
it's hard to say.
It could be.
No, I don't think, it's not part of the plan, because I did look in there, the
Oh, did
only,
you?
everything in there is more, it's not like official surveys.
Right, okay, I didn't know. if-
It was using it, yeah.
Yeah.
And when they redid all of the stormwater management for that area, they didn't take a survey then either, did they?
That does give me a thought about another avenue to check, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it would have gone, it would have touched into that property, but
Right.
probably not the whole thing.
No,
So-
I know, and who knows how they, yeah, and if, you know what, if the survey has to be done, then that's.
It's a small piece. It
It's-
shouldn't
So be it. I
It's
mean,
not,
it is
it's
what it
not a
is.
huge cost
Correct.
to the project, and it's it saves you money on the other end if you have it.
Exactly.
So, well, that is wonderful.
Well,
It's
I
very
will
exciting.
reach out about getting you on the agenda for Monday.
Cool, and I'll get an updated design to you guys
Yeah,
tonight.
yeah. And I'm sure if I email them this evening, I'll have an answer in the morning.
I mean, I've been speaking to each one of them offline.
Sure,
All of this,
sure.
so.
It is kind of a full agenda, that's my only
Yep.
concern, but it should be.
No
should be
worries.
fine. Okay,
Wonderful.
We'd also like to, if this topic is over, our nonprofit at some point in time would like to help pick up the ball on the disc golf idea.
well, the eastbound disc golf is still alive and working.
Not tonight, though?
No, this was just for me to let this group know that it's, as of right now, it's tentative on the agenda for Monday evening.
Okay.
We're waiting for some additional information that the mayor and council asked for, but eastbound disc golf is definitely still,
Did you go
Involved.
over when they had I really enjoyed the,
Yeah, I mean, I
Event.
thought it was a bit, maybe we should do maybe 9 holes out there instead of 18.
well, that's one of the things the mayor and council asked for,
Yeah.
was to see a vision for 9 holes instead
Correct.
of 18.
but it still
Oh,
was
we're all for it,
wonderful.
100% for it.
It was such an addition, which I was surprised.
Mhm.
I was surprised how peaceful,
Oh, yeah, it's a
and
great
it
little
was
sport.
just it really enhanced being in the park.
It's a great sport. It's fun. It just, has to be done the right way.
We've had conversations about this.
Yeah, I mean, the design of it.
Well,
just-
and that's what I would
Well,
say,
that's what-
eastbound
yeah.
disc golf is still in the picture.
Okay.
So what I would say is,
If they
Reach out to
fall,
them.
please let us know, and we'll
Well,
sort of
I
pick
mean,
that
there's
back
nothing
up.
that stops you from engaging them and giving them your ideas if it's, if they're gonna
it
move
is,
forward
it
in
is
that.
not a matter of who is proposing it.
Yeah,
It's the mayor and council wants to see the right combinations of factors.
correct. I know there were some issues with the nonprofit status, and they were
And
sort
they've
of
got
waiting.
that resolved.
Good, okay, good.
Well, thank you for thinking of them. I
Good.
think that's what you were really aiming
Yeah, I mean, I
for.
just wanted that project to get forward, and if we can help get that forward, then we'll help get that forward in our way that we can. That's
Well-
all. So, that's all.
Okay.
You just want to play, don't you?
Just to see people have fun and make it happen. That's all. Yes.
I might
like
still
to
be
play.
able to throw one.
On the equipment, the gear that these guys have.
Oh, you want?
You can have all that gear, but all you really need is one disc.
I
You need
understand
that
that,
disc.
but these were some serious players.
Oh, yeah,
Some of them were, yeah.
no question.
I was 1969 Baltimore City Park and Recs champion.
Hey, you might have to defend that.
1969, tell you.
Yeah, hey, you
I was
remember
13.
it?
I was 13. And we held it down at Patterson Park.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my.
All right.
Okay,
Good?
we'll be in touch first thing in the
All right,
morning,
cool.
one
I'll
way or
let
the
you
other.
know. No, thank you guys.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Good.
Don't forget your,
Yep. It's in honor of Jeff Smith's
Sounds like it
jacket.
might have stopped the rain, so that's a good thing. So really, yeah, disc golf on the agenda, that it was just to give you the update that they are tentative for Monday night. There were just a couple of pieces that the mayor and council had asked for that we still needed to receive before they could move forward with that. So, playground inspections. We talked about playgrounds the last two meetings, or we met on site at Decatur and Henry. If you want to come back up, please come back up here so I can stop doing that. And this is 10 times better than it was yesterday. Jimmy and I are going to go through it with a fine-tooth comb and really figure out major stuff that needs, well, there wasn't anything major, really. But we're gonna come up with a good budget to address anything that's outstanding that can't, be addressed with the turn of a wrench or whatever. And so we'll have that in mind for the budget for next year. I think we need to renew the contract, actually, I think it was a 3-year contract with the playground inspection folks, so we'll need to renew that. For what it costs the town, it's so worth it. Still need to work on an inventory of the signage and make sure that's all up to date. They're all fairly easy things. Cumulatively, they may add up to a little chunk of money, but I don't think it's anything that's gonna be, really crazy. So that, we'll be talking about that again as we get closer to budget time. I unfortunately did not have the letter in time to include it in the package, but we did finally receive the official word that the Stephen Decatur Park permanent restroom grant was approved.
Oh,
I know.
oh, what good news.
We are meeting with the engineer on Monday. Now, I will say this, the budget that we originally submitted a year ago, as we are all aware, construction costs are considerably different. So there's a lot of stuff we're gonna have to figure out before we can really move forward. I do not believe, I could be wrong, I do not believe we can do our vision is to basically do the same kind of restroom that we have at Henry Park at Stephen Decatur. I do not think we can do it with the budget that has been allocated. However, with extenuating circumstances and whatever, we'll figure it out. We will somehow have a restroom that is the same as, size-wise, setup-wise as at Henry
Well,
Park.
those restrooms are just great over in Henry Park.
Yes,
They're
yes.
easy to
Main,
clean.
one main difference that we're going to have, I mean, we've learned a lot too over
Yeah.
the years, but we're gonna have a water bottle filler.
That would be the biggest, the only.
and it seems like it would be some savings to go with a plan you already have instead of.
Well, they were prefabbed. They were actually brought in on a truck, put on the ground and.
Wow.
But you
whatever.
still had to have the whole site.
Yes, which has its advantages and disadvantages. We are actually hopeful that we can stick build it, so to speak, just as practically as efficiently. So that's part of what we're.
With the
negotiating
same
about.
ability to
Yeah.
clean it and all
Yes,
of those
exactly,
other things.
exactly.
Good.
That's the main thing, is the ease of cleaning, the ability to lock it off hours, that sort of thing.
That's
Yeah.
an automatic locking system, isn't it?
Yeah, it
That's
locks at
awesome.
night and unlocks in the morning.
And you have the, I guess.
But then we can unlock it for events, like when we used to do the movie nights, I would
Right.
always unlock it when I got there and
Mhm.
relock it before I left.
That's wonderful.
Yay. Good.
So finally on that, yeah. Oh,
That is wonderful news.
Friday, we are having the Glow Walk. I hope everybody is going to be able to attend.
Where do you want us to meet, here at 4:30?
No, we will meet at Stephen Decatur
Okay.
Park, where I'm actually gonna
Oh,
take,
okay,
now that it's
SUV.
dark, I'm gonna take a ride over there after I leave here to figure out where the best lighting is gonna be, because it will be pretty much dark by 5 o'clock. Then folks are given their raffle ticket. I just have a Berlin basket with some goodies in it.
Nice.
they're given their glow bracelets, necklaces, sticks, whatever. And then there's a route that goes out to Maine, down William, back around, all the way down past Worcester Prep and back to the park. I have enough volunteers for at least one person at each of the intersections where people may need a little bit of direction.
You go up here
pointing.
instead of going there.
Exactly.
Right.
Because where it is at night, now these are all well-lit routes. There's
It's-
one small stretch of Cedar Avenue, I think it is, that doesn't have sidewalk. Excuse me, but other than that, well-lit, sidewalks the whole way. But the signs don't work like they do for the daytime, so we're
So
having
human
people-
beings.
Yeah,
What's the
and it's
length
just gonna be
of,
fun.
what's the length? Is it like?
It is on, just about 4.5 kilometers.
Oh,
So,
okay, good.
yeah.
That's a decent little walk.
I tried to stretch it and get it to 5 kilometers
Yeah.
and it just didn't, it wasn't practical.
Well,
Would
we
have
can
required
tell
a lot
people to
more-
walk back and forth a couple.
It would have required a lot more volunteers at different places and it just started
It's
getting a
close,
little
though.
too
Yeah,
much, yeah.
That's
yeah,
nice.
wonderful.
None of the route that I have outlined is actually within the park because we don't have lighting in the park because it's not intended to be, not intended
Right,
to have
it's
people
be
in there
used.
after dark. So-
Even with the lights from the tennis courts, it's not enough.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And I actually heard from Crystal at the health department this afternoon. We were going to speak on the phone tomorrow morning and they've so far had 48 people sign up online.
Wow.
So that's looking good. I think people are really looking forward to
Yeah.
this.
Getting
It's
out
gonna
and
be
doing something.
different and the glow sticks will make it fun
And
and
once they see the weather,
Yeah.
like, you know,
that's the
then
only
more
thing you
people
can,
will sign,
right,
yeah.
right. That's the only thing.
Well, now all we have to know is the town gonna have, then the post-glow walk, somebody gonna have the drinks at
An
the bar or
after
whatever.
walk.
Are they gonna have a drink with a glow stick in it?
So, I'm gonna be at the park probably about 4:15 or so. Anybody can, anytime between then and 5. I'd still, as I said, I have enough volunteers for one person at each point. If I could get 2, that would be ideal. A couple of them have 2 already, a husband and wife, that sort of thing. And I do have someone who will be walking behind everybody so that she can let the volunteers know, okay, that was the last person. Yeah.
Very
So-
clever. You have thought of so many things. Thank you so much.
Okay, let's see. There's an ordinance included in your packet that is being introduced, okay?
Yes, yeah.
The highlighted area is, the language has changed just a little bit, just this afternoon. They played with the wording a little bit. So the way that it will read, the copy that's going before the council Monday is, smoking or vaping of tobacco products, medical marijuana, illegal substances, or any other substances shall be prohibited in all town-owned public parks. The wording as it is okay, but it could have been twisted a little bit, and so this just is much
No, I
more
think-
inclusive.
I think you did it, that's the right way to do it, right at the very beginning.
Right, so I wanted to put that before you. Any questions or comments on that to pass on to mayor and council?
I'm glad that they're doing it. You're gonna have to have, I don't know, on properties, they often have smoking disposal at the edge of the property or something like that, just that
That's a
might
good
be
point.
might be a thought with like where people are walking onto the parks, that and a sign
Right.
on the smoking bin or whatever it is that they have. That just will save us from having to clean up cigarette butts, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
It's better to think the positive. Lovely.
I will make a note about that. And then well, not quite the last thing, but the refurbishment of the scrap tire path. As we discussed it at length. Estimates for redoing it as is are in the $500,000
Right,
range,
yeah.
which is
It's
just,
never gonna happen.
it's never gonna happen. That's exactly right. So what we are proposing, we're getting ready to do a request for bids for 3 or 4 streets, I think, in town. We're going to include the pathway in that, for it to be taken out and asphalt. So we'll still have a path. It is not ideal. I mean, everybody loves the rubber path.
Yeah.
Well, everybody
And-
wants to not trip too.
Right.
Exactly, it's,
Long-term maintenance, asphalt is so much easier to deal with. It's unfortunate because it was a unique thing in the park, everyone loved it. It's just not practical.
No,
And in
no,
the meantime, nothing is being done because
And
we
it's
can't
just-
afford to.
I've slid on wet leaves on there before, and it actually just gets like a slimy coating.
Yeah. I don't know that asphalt in the long run will be any
Yeah.
different, you can still get kind of a.
But
And
it's
trees,
still-
and tree roots
From
can
one-
still come up, but
Sure,
looks
but it's
terrible.
much easier to repair.
we can deal with it better, yes.
And the freezing and thawing, which has been the real problem with
This
this
will
path,
much
that's been
better
what's
control,
caused a lot of the damage.
Well, this is just gonna keep getting worse and worse.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
no, I'm
Exactly.
so happy that we're getting it done.
I-
It's
You know,
saving
and
problems.
Public Works over the years, I think you've had some experience with this here as well, I've tried purchasing the materials and patching it, but it's like a chain.
There's,
You know, when you try to fix a chain, well, maybe that's the wrong analogy.
It's just-
Because actually,
yeah.
usually when you fix a chain link, it's stronger, but never
this is
mind.
gonna look
Well, it
better
shows all the
than
other
the
weak links.
Yes, yes.
I have one thought though, and if you can just listen to this with an open mind. When I walk to the park, I'm coming from, town, where everyone else is also coming a lot, half the people at least are coming down that sidewalk. The sidewalk.
Tripoli Street.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
Tripoli Street. The sidewalk ends abruptly. Since we're saving so much money and doing the asphalt, could we not include that where there used to be a trail that went from where that sidewalk is? And it was really pretty too. It like meandered through the kiddie park and connected to it.
The crushed shale.
Yes, it used to be there for years, like I
We
always.
can look at it. The problem with it, with the way that it was not ADA compliant.
Okay,
And if we make the effort to actually construct another path, it has to be ADA compliant.
Well,
So, but it's something we
Yeah.
could certainly look at.
I mean, it just would be nice, because that's also a low marshy area
Mhm.
that you have to walk through to get there.
With the decomposed granite?
Yeah,
The
the crushed shale. Or
It
what-
used to
Crush and
be-
run, whatever they
Crush,
call it,
yes.
we put it in our 5-year plan.
for
to
that.
add up. Now, one
The
of the
problem
things
with
we
the
also talked
sidewalk-
about was maybe crossing back over to go towards the pond side parking lot,
Uh-huh.
then coming back across. I know it seems like, because of that low area, and that is where the water runs off.
And
what
it
we talked
does,
about. But we looked at.
yeah, the
It's
fact
in
that
the
it's a
plan.
low area gives us difficulties, because obviously anytime you try to do anything in a low-lying area, there's difficulties. We don't want to put permanent impervious surface in where currently there is dirt that is absorbing water. The sidewalk ended so abruptly, the original plan was actually to take the sidewalk all the way to the
Yes.
parking lot. But you hit that wet area and you get into a stormwater mitigation situation that just adds so much expense.
Maybe even if it was the crushed stone dust,
Mhm.
and that was, a natural, at least it would be a trail to go through instead of sinking in muck on your way to the place, because that's where all the kids.
Well, the thing of it is that not every place is intended to have a path.
Yeah, but
Well,
that's like
around
a.
the top.
I
and all
understand
of
it
that.
seems to be an area where
really a
people
mess.
want to walk, but
Yeah,
it doesn't mean it's an area that is appropriate for people to walk.
but there always was one there,
But it
so-
shouldn't, it probably shouldn't have
Yeah,
been.
well, I'm just saying.
And now we have to worry about ADA compliance, stormwater. It's a different world now than
Yeah.
it was
But I mean, if
25
it
or
was
30
stone
years ago.
dust, is there still ADA compliant? I mean,
Yes.
make that wider. wouldn't Yeah.
There's still, that creates issues with ADA compliance, yes.
Well, if we could just look into it, I would be thrilled. I
We
mean,
got a
just,
lot of runoff from the curbing on Tripoli, where
Right.
it stops at. because it comes from,
Oh, it just rolls right around.
Yeah,
Right,
it comes off of that court from Kenwood, down that curbing, and where that stops is where you
Well,
run into the,
Perhaps,
Washington Park.
I think that whole area, where the water runs around the corner there, and it's just a drop off, it's not ready for a wheelchair or anything, right? So that is another issue, because you have a straight curb instead of a graduated curb, where we're inviting people to walk. I think that this is something that we, sooner rather than later, after we get this, the running path or the walking path done, I agree with you. I've often gone through there and thought that this is, it's just, well, I'll walk anywhere through the whole park. I just wear boots, and I figure I'm gonna get muddy no matter where I go, because it's stormwater management. But it would be nice to, if we could in some way complete the sidewalk
The
there.
sidewalk would be the first thing that I would.
Right, that would be the most practical conclusion.
As Judy said, it is in the 5-year plan, but it doesn't mean that it ultimately will be feasible to do.
Right.
That's the thing that, as I said, particularly when it comes to stormwater management, you cannot do what they did 30, 40 years ago.
No, but
and just bring in dirt and raise the land and build something on top of it. You can't do it.
We've seen.
And Steve Decatur Park is part of the town's stormwater.
But we've
Basin, I
also
don't know what
seen
else
that
to
there
call
are walkways that they are meant to accommodate.
There are
that.
ways, you are correct.
And that is something that
You are
I think
correct.
that, there are all kinds of, the
There are
things where they put
boardwalks.
the bridge.
Yes.
They also have that thing that sinks into the dirt that they make driveways with and stuff like
Yeah,
that. I
yeah.
mean,
You're not incorrect, there are ways to.
So I think
Yeah.
that something that's
The
appropriate.
cheapest way is to put dirt in and put asphalt on
Well,
top
we
of
know
it,
we
and
can't do that. We can't do that now, but, I think it is, as a whole park plan, I'm so glad it's on our 5-year plan. I wish it was on our 2-year plan.
But I think it would be nice if we had something, whatever it was, that could help people go through there, because even kids are going from, one thing to the
The
next.
toys are down there.
Yeah, and that's where it is. And so, and the thing is it was there.
It was there,
And it was great.
but it was a long time ago that it was.
But it was great.
Well, it's been washed through, all that water's been channeled, and it has been washed away. I mean, a lot
Well,
of
it's
it's been
still
washed
there,
away.
but it's, because it was stone dust.
Oh, I know, but I mean,
So,
it has
yeah.
washed, and as you look through, there's so much water you've seen it when the water comes through. It's barely it's barely
Yeah.
stormwater managing.
But anyway,
Anyway,
it's just my.
well, no, I'm glad I'm
And
glad we have that.
Not taking away from Health Road, I am just that the trail would be done. I just thought, wouldn't it be great if,
It would be wonderful
Yeah.
getting that sidewalk down Tripoli Street was a major accomplishment, just to have that connection to the town.
it's awesome.
Yeah, and so now it would be nice to complete that, but we all know it takes money.
Right, yeah, well, and it,
And the storm.
the stormwater adds,
Oh, yeah.
and it's hugely important, and it's added a lot of work and effort and thought and planning to any project.
Well, that's, it was selected as the
expense.
stormwater management area, and we have
Right.
to maintain it as such, so.
And as with stormwater anywhere,
Yeah.
you can't just build it up and push it to the next property.
Yeah,
And
well.
you just can't. That's been what people have been doing now for generations, and we're seeing the results.
Oh, I know, I live at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah. The Berlin Youth Program sent over their update for the kind
Wonderful.
of the end of summer. Just, obviously, if you have a chance to take a look through that, and if you see anything in particular, they're doing
They came,
great stuff.
yeah, they came over to the museum and used the outside area at
Yes.
different times during the summer. And every interaction we've had with them at the museum has been just wonderful.
Yeah.
And we're always looking for ways to offer them more ways to be at the museum.
I'm hoping that they're going to be in the Christmas parade again this year.
That would be
They've
fun.
usually done something, so. That was all that I have. Does anybody else have anything?
I'm just looking at our schedule for next year, and this has already gone out into the, and I love seeing that there's gonna be a cleanup day.
That's the plan.
And I'm crossing my fingers, and that is gonna be a wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm just glad to see all of these events going forward.
The May 7th color walk, that was something that the health department suggested we think about. I'm not sure about it. You know what a color run is. People, usually it's like a 5K or whatever, and at points you get bombed with color. I mean, it's a lot of fun.
I've seen there's a
And of course, the
Indian
color
celebration.
is just
Powder.
chalk or whatever that
It washes off
is, right,
easily.
you know, it doesn't represent a
Right.
stormwater problem or
No,
pollution.
I get
Right.
it, yeah.
I don't know, though, I would have to talk to someone who's done one, because I have no idea what goes into it. I don't know if, usually you have a lot of volunteer participation, obviously, because you gotta have somebody throwing the
Checkpoints,
stuff. So, yeah, it's,
I'm very
It might be
uncomfortable
something
about throwing anything at other people. That's just.
well, you know, it's
my-
what people
my
show up
thing.
for, but.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Not that bad,
It's
huh?
not usually done as a walk, so I'm just not sure, and I wasn't, when I just Googled it, I didn't see anybody who had done it as a walk. But we'll talk to the folks at the health department, maybe they have some ideas, so. We'll see, that's all we can do. So, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody on Friday. Beyond that, our next meeting will be January 4th.
Wow. Well, Happy New Year, everybody.
Don't forget to change your clocks this weekend.
Oh,
How
yeah.
set are they on selling the property over here at Herring Park?
It's not by any means a done deal, they're just, that's why they're putting out for
I've
proposals
tried-
and exploring.
I had some things come up, I couldn't get there Monday, so I was gonna stand up to talk. I can't see why they would want to. I know at some point, we're hoping
Mhm.
that this will evolve into a park and rec center, recreation program. And when it does, they're gonna need a place for a building, for activities. Why give away what you already have and have to spend twice as much to buy it back?
Well, it certainly, as I said, it certainly is not done at this point. They've started the proposal process.
Mhm.
It's not done until February. They've left a long time for serious planning to be done. And even when they get proposals, they could elect not to move forward with it. So it certainly is not a done deal. That's about all I can really,
Now, we do have that grass field out there behind the American Legion. We could do something with that during the summer next year, you know?
I'm trying to think where you mean, I'd have to go look
I've
at
At the
it
end
to
of
orient
Rains, at
myself.
the end of Rains' old
Oh,
property.
yes,
behind
yes,
the
yes,
mayor's
yes,
house.
yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Put the stage there and have a band up there.
There are a lot of things that could be done with that
Plenty of
area.
parking.
It's just, it's
No
just,
No power, there is no power. The plant was served by Delmarva Power, not the town. So
Mhm.
when it closed, they took all that with them. So that's one thing that's,
Not that they, you
yeah,
know,
not that, oh, of
it's
course
not
it's
a- right,
completely
but it's just-
doable.
But just saying, there's no power.
Yeah, I
And so
know.
that's
You
been the
have to-
problem with
Even the
when
buildings.
people have had ideas of
Right.
trying to do like festivals and whatever, that's the problem. Everything would have to be on generator, because there is no power.
Is that what they
There's
used
no
one
running
time?
water out there.
Is that what they used one time when they had the bands over there?
When was
I
that?
think it was when they had, was it when they had the skateboard ramp set up?
oh,
I'm not sure how
they
they do
did,
that. They may
I
run it
think
from
that they
properties.
had their own trucks or whatever. They just.
Yeah.
Light towers
Yeah.
and all.
Yeah, that was just a brief, it wasn't.
They may have had
They had a band
generators.
playing over there.
They may have had generators, I don't know. I don't know.
There was, I don't really recall. It was either that or they had their trucks backed up to it, so I didn't, what kind of thing they might have had going, who knows? I'm not sure.
But, yeah,
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
it's
No.
still very much in the, I won't even say it's in the planning stage, it's exploratory at this point.
Well, I think it doesn't hurt to know, to assess what you have, but I think it would be foolhardy, well, you just never know what somebody's gonna do with the property. Once they own it, they can do anything to it, and, you know, that's,
Well, I just think this town is growing so fast. You know, these spaces are not going to be available in the future, and what we have already there, we may want to do something that's going to need more space. We wouldn't have it, and like you said,
well, we wouldn't,
you can't get it back.
Right,
It's
we already
gone,
have
is
it.
my thought.
you know, if these big projects that we dream of, the skate park and things like that, there
They're
is
gonna
no
take-
better place for it than in that general area. If people
Yeah.
want that to happen, I cannot imagine a better place for it, because it's already hardened, it's
Or,
already.
yeah, or
you know.
amphitheater, or whatever.
Well,
like all these
amphitheater is
things.
almost naturally there,
Yeah.
you know.
But I mean, like, there's so many different ideas and, you know,
It
we have
just
so
takes
many
money.
opportunities. Yeah, but down the road, we could do it
Yeah.
and then not have that property.
If we were in a serious money bind, which I don't think that Berlin is in such a serious money bind right now, I'm not quite sure. I mean, you know, there seems to be enough money for certain things, and, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the audit is out there every
Yeah,
year.
every
and
year,
the
and we seem
auditors-
to-
Actually, they should be coming,
We seem to do
Sure.
just fine,
Do they
so.
award grants for like the demolition of that building?
well, we've actually got a grant application out there right now.
So
Okay.
all of these things, and that would be wonderful if we could get these.
That would
things
make a
going.
huge difference in the
Yeah.
end game as well.
Yeah, because it
really
would be like
would.
a combined use place
The-
if we had enough space, like,
The thing that, and I'm not trying to make excuses, I'm just trying to give some perspective. For as passionately as you or anyone else sits and says, this is what we've got to do.
Right.
There's someone over there saying, no, it's
I know.
this, and someone over there saying, no, it's that. And these are all the things that they have to then weigh and try to figure out
I know.
not only what is going to meet the needs and wants of the community, the majority of the community, but can be afforded, can, be sustained. It's a tough job.
Right, and is this something, if we buy it now?
Because I can
what do
tell
we-
you, as adamant as you are that we shouldn't sell it, there are others who are saying, get rid of it.
It might look bad,
Yeah.
Well, I
but
think I'm
someone
gonna
is not
put
gonna
my.
lower our taxes, it's not gonna cut any services.
it's not gonna lower the taxes.
It's not gonna do anything but sit
What would
there
the
and-
impact be to every person, like, if we sold that, you wouldn't get,
It would
a
reduce,
dollar.
it would reduce some of the debt on the property. We would be able
Right.
to pay some of that debt.
And then it would also enable to possibly move forward on a different bond for a performing arts center or something else, if we had that,
And
depending
where are you
on.
gonna put it? You just sold the property to put it on.
Well, you know where the performing arts center is, would probably go, or whatever center, community center, whatever it is they're thinking. And that's fine, but I think if we had, I think with all this found money that we're saving from putting the asphalt. from
Well, but
that
see, but
way-
that's the thing, think about that, it really isn't found money.
I know, I'm teasing you,
Because it's
I
money
know.
that's not being spent right now,
Right.
but we're going to spend
We're
it.
going,
So we're really
I
not-
know,
yeah,
I'm just,
yeah.
this
It's
is-
like buying an item you really don't need on sale.
It would
You really
just-
haven't saved anything.
I know,
The
I
Parks
know.
Commission loves parks. so-
Yes.
Yes, and
Yeah,
that's,
general.
we're true to our word.
Yeah. Well,
And it would be
I
nice to
think
have a
that-
parks professional to help us with
I
some
don't
of
think
these
that at
things.
the end of the day, the ideal solution, there is no ideal solution.
No.
For some, it was never to have bought it in the first
Right.
place.
Absolutely.
For others, there is no perfect solution, and it's up to them to try to figure out.
Well, good luck to them, I'm glad I don't
Yeah,
have that job.
Right, right.
I just feel like I might not have been for buying it, but now that we've got it.
Yeah.
Well,
We've got 3 of them up there that were on the advisory commission for the park.
Right, right.
yeah.
But whatever, we've got it now, I think we should
Well, I
It's still
think it
very
has
much in the.
so
in
much
the
promise.
Exploratory stage. I
And
will
it's a
say.
great bird watching spot.
Yeah,
Yes, it
It
is.
really is.
well, I mean, and in fairness, the area with the lagoon is not on the table at this point.
Oh, yeah, I understand that. But even the,
Lagoons.
and there is a dedicated, there's like a forestry area that's right there that can't be, that's managed by the state or some entity.
That is,
Yeah.
I've walked all back there though, in those fields, and it is a considerable amount of beautiful land.
Oh,
back
yeah,
in there.
yeah.
Yeah,
The
and-
wildlife back there
Yes.
is just significant, yeah.
yeah.
So that's when when I walked it is when I realized, wow, this is really something, so.
Yeah.
And
it's-
last year during the snow, it was packed over there.
Oh, I'm sure, that hill, there's no other hill in town to sled, absolutely.
You know, and that would be,
Yeah.
you know, that would be a fun pop-up event. You know, if we could sponsor something like that on a snowy day, somehow put our heads together and come up with a safe pop-up event where, you know, we get people inspired about whatever.
A taco truck and some sledding.
Cocoa, hot cocoa.
Hot cocoa, yeah.
Just put it on We Heart Berlin on Facebook.
There you go.
Well, and honestly, I'm very excited about what they're doing for us.
Well,
I think
I know.
that the possibilities of more cooperation in the future are, you know, they've completed a project. That's gold. So,
And already moving on to the second one.
well, yeah,
And
just, you
so-
know, setting out to do something,
Yeah.
achieving their goals and completing it.
Yeah, not a pipe dream, they actually did
They
it.
actually did it, and I think that that is a major accomplishment, you know, in any town, in any
Yeah.
century.
Yeah, it's huge.
So.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for listening.
Sure. Anything else? A motion to adjourn? We're all-
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All right, thank you.
All right, let's hope that rain stopped.
Yeah. And again, I'll just look forward to seeing everybody on Friday.
Okay, thank you for reminding me.
I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
It will be.